Who's the quarterback out of that bunch?
I was, sir. And
you
Grant.
were?
Me and Grant, we yeah. I mean, I didn't want to run around a lot. I said I'll be all-time quarterback. You know how that goes.
This is true.
Who'd you play for?
I didn't play high school. We played in the park about every weekend. We go over there and just freaking throw it around and act like idiots.
You know what? You can have dreams on any level, kid.
That's exactly right. It was competitive too.
And they're all the same. You feel good just as good. It doesn't matter.
And the stories get more exaggerated as you go too. You know how that goes, right?
Oh, well, I heard you say. I think more touchdown pass. I want to know who said that.
Well, that's true, but it was Mark Zaban, and he was that was after his Marshall career. Maybe he was a little rusty or something, but he could throw it, man.
He could sling it.
Funny.
Hey, Danny, health-wise, how you guys doing? Obviously, Jared missed the game the other day, but it seemed like you had a bunch of people that had some sore ankles coming out of the weekend.
Well, we had a lot of nicks and bruises. You had Andy played on a swollen one. It wasn't as bad as Jared's, or Jared would have played, but he still was puffed up a little bit. Jansen dropped a car on his foot. It's been bothering him for a week. Still bothering him. I saw him today. It still bothers him. I saw Jared today. He's just finished with him. He's going to shoot today. Still a bit swollen. We'll see what happens. Michael Byers saw where he got his nail pinned back on him, where his ball pinned the nail back on him, his thumb, and then he fell on his back. But I think he'll be okay when we get there. So a little bumped up. I'm feeling good. My hip still hurts, but I was going to do a lob play for me, but what the hell.
I was going to say the team's starting to take after their coach as far as the injury bug, aren't they?
I know. That's a damn shame because they ain't worth a shit. So they better do their own stuff.
Dang, looking ahead to Charlotte, obviously, one of the more talented teams the last couple of years, but they just haven't really been able to find it over the last 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, Of course, that was the last 2 or 3 weeks. They could start tomorrow, so you never know when that stops and starts. So, good ball club. They run the Princeton offense, and a lot of cuts and back cuts, and deep in the shot clock. So you gotta defend all 30 seconds. Got some shooters on the outside. Got the center like the center we played against North Texas. That type of center. Big body, not a lot of lift, but big body, and he gets down inside and worms around, finds an angle, get a ball up there. So a lot like North Texas in the way they're built, type of players they have. They're a little bit more structured into the Princeton offense. And then defensively, the center engages the pick and rolls. And so we'll just have to play hard and see what happens.
Hey, Dan, watching Andrew do what he did, and you knew this already, but his ability to play the point or the two, and Jared the same way, does that kind of give you a little more variation in what you want to do offensively?
Well, you can put Tavion in on that too, because he can run it too. So, you can only have so many, but all 3 of those were point guards in high school. And, it shows you their versatility, all of them. They can be spot-up guys, 2 guards or point guards, and Tavion can be a 4. But Tavion can take it 4 positions. So, I like to recruit that way. That just didn't happen by happenstance. I like that type of player, and I think they play well together. So probably in the future, as long as I'm coach, you'll probably see 3 type of guys who can shoot it, score, but run pick and roll duties too, and run point guard duties. So we'll try to keep it that way. I think when you do that with the type of offense, the open offense that we play, it's beneficial.
And for you, I know that the injury bug has been won, especially over the last week and a half. But is it sort of a tribute to your team though, the depth that you've got, because you're plugging guys in and where everybody's sort of able to run their role and continue things. It seems like you all are still able to maintain pretty well even without the Jareds or some guys that are banged up.
Well, we play a positionless offense almost. It's got a little bit of structure for the bigs as opposed to the three perimeters. But even the smaller big, or the one playing traditionally called a four, he plays out there too, and you can kind of go back and forth with whoever you want, because they do the same things. They pick a little bit more from the four than they do from a 3, 1, or 2, but Tavion will pick from a 3. So, our offense is set to where it kind of flows, and we do it every day. If you come to practice and watch, we do it, call it the extra ball, where we'll run a play, and then we'll just throw a ball at anybody that's on the floor, and they have to keep playing. They can't try to take a one-on-one. They have to keep playing with their teammates. So they learn how to always use each other to get each other open, and it doesn't become a one-man show. We started doing that in Mike, when we went to left Phoenix. We didn't have to do it in Phoenix because you have Steve Nash. But when we got to New York, we had to train some little Steve Nashes and train people into the position. And we weren't as dominant with the point guard, so I worked out some reason, I don't know why, I threw the extra ball in, and we just started moving. And when we did that, that really improved our offense, because 70, 80% of the time the play you draw up doesn't work. And it's always the secondary play that scores. And if you work on the secondary, a lot of, I did, and probably a lot of coaches will get in practice and they'll work the play. And at the terminus of the play, if it doesn't score, it's almost like players go, what next? And they usually go one-on-one. And I think we've done, we do it a little different in that every day we get to the end, we'll shoot it in practice because we're no defense, run our play, shoot the play or shot from the play. And then as soon as it goes up, another ball comes in to any one of the others that are standing out there, and they have to start playing from there. So they learn to get the ball, move it to the next guy without at first just holding it, going, oh my, play didn't work, I got to take this guy. So I guess to answer your question is that our players can play all positions. Our bigs play, they know when to come up and pick. They also can do the other too, because Michael Byers can run a pick and roll, and we do it at times. So, and he's a 5'4", That's by design.
You look at Jahmir Young, and he's a guy that, his numbers haven't been great during their losing streak, and that's pretty much, been the hindrance for Charlotte. But you also know he's a guy that can go off for 25 to 30 at any point. What do you all, especially if Jared, is a little bit banged up, how do you all go about making sure that he doesn't get comfortable in Huntington?
Well, you just play as hard as you can and make it as hard as you can on him. There's no special. We run our defense. It's force you to the sideline, force you down the baseline, bring the other 3 over or 2 into almost a zone, play the backside in a zone, play out of that. And we'll practice that and practice that and practice that. And they can put, what's that kid's name again?
Jahmir Young.
Yeah, they can put Jahmir Young in it, or you can have LeBron James. Won't make any difference. We're going to play it that way, and try to make. I've over the years found that trying to adjust to every team you play normally means you don't ever get as good as you should be. So I try to perfect what we do, stay at it. Now we're aware of what the other players, they know which ones can shoot and they'll close faster, or they won't close us all the way. We know that, but still the structure is the same. We may tweak individually as to whether we really close hard, force the dribble, back off a little bit, go under a pick instead of go over. Those are things that we, you know, scout and look at and decide, go under, go over, where, when, stuff like that. But the structure of the defense stays the same. Force them sideline, force them baseline, double anything that drives baseline with our big, and then coming in and getting in behind it, because the dump off guy is the one's dangerous when you force them baseline. So the dump off guy, when he goes, we make sure our bottom guy on the weak side gets over and covers that. Then the other two, one gets at the nail, one gets in the slot. When it comes out, if it's below the foul line, the slot gets it. If it's above the foul line, the nail gets it. And we just do it and do it and do it until they get it down. Now, this team runs Princeton offense, which really kind of hurt us a little bit this last game. If you remember, what's the little point guard for North Texas? Hit that three where they came down and kind of circled the two on the side, and Andy was staying too far away from it. We're going to do the same thing, which is if the offensive guy's coming from the top down, you stay on top. If the bottom is coming up, you stay on the bottom. So no matter what they do, the guy coming from the baseline, guy drops low, guy coming from the top down toward the baseline stays high. They can do all they want to. We're staying right there. When they come out of it, anybody goes to the basket, the bottom one's got. Anybody pops, the top one's got. Andy got a little bit too far off, and he bumped into their center, couldn't get out to that guy's. So all we got to do is make sure when they do that, which is what Charlotte does a lot, is get Andy to move toward the sideline, toward the guy a little bit. I think he'll take care of it. If not, I screwed up again. We'll see. Now, I know y'all didn't understand what the hell I'm talking about, but.
Hey, Dan, finally, not finally, but for me anyway, but when you look at what has happened this year with the stops and starts, has it been harder for every team, not just you guys, to get into the kind of rhythm that you like to have when March comes around? How difficult has that been for you and the team?
I think mostly for the shooting. We kind of know we have a veteran team. They know what they're doing. It's hard to maintain a game rhythm of shooting. So I think here toward the end, I think we've gotten a little bit better in what we're doing. Our shooting has really picked up. But I think mostly, and I think that's why you see sometimes you see team beat a team by 25 and come back and win by 25. Their shooting isn't the same. And, Charlotte, I think, is struggling a little bit. Can't get the ball in the basket. And they've had a lot of stops and starts. So, we started about a month ago with all of it. We just started having days designated to shooting at game speed. And I think it's helped us, but, maybe not. I don't know.
Do you expect to have Jared back for this weekend series?
Do I? I don't know. I can't speculate on that. I'm not a doctor. If it's all possible, I know he'll try. Whether we want him to, we might start him and then use him as we need it, try to spare him out a little bit. You don't want it. He can go on it, but it'll stay weak. You don't want it weak when you go to the tournament. And you want the rest will strengthen it up. So, I'll listen to the trainers and what they say. And they're much better at it than I am. And we have good ones, and whatever he can do, we'll do. But sit here and suggest I can tell you ahead of time those ankles, people heal differently too. Not everybody heals the same, and so we just have to wait and see how it affects him. Some people a little quicker than others, so just have to wait and see. Is that it?
What do you want to see out of the team in its final homestand of the season?
2 wins. 2 wins, playing together, enjoying the game, enjoying the last 2 games here at home. Smiling. I'm not into one of these I'm not one of these gotcha coaches or, the world's going to end. Oh, gosh, throw your hands up if something goes wrong. Everybody has ups and downs. You do as a person and in your field, at home. And I do too. And I've been taught or suggested by my parents that, look, you stay the course, period. And I found out I had my son call me and had me worried at night. He calls me and said, I told Andrew he'd come work for me. And I said, what's wrong? He goes, well, I'll let Andrew tell you. Oh shit, I go to bed that night. I call Andrew, can't get a hold of him. So I go to bed at night thinking the worst, right? He's lost his job, getting a divorce. What the hell, something bad's going to happen. So wake up in the morning, finally get a hold of him. He said, Drew, Nick said that you were going to try to call, tell me something. And he said, yeah, Dad, we're going to have another baby. So there you go. See, you get all excited, get all up and down for nothing. And, he's all worried about how he can handle 4 kids because it's their 4th one. And he's being deployed to Kuwait on the day that's supposed to be born and leaving his wife with 4 kids. Now, why they're deploying him, I won't get into the political part of it because he's in the reserves. I guess they're having a national emergency in Kuwait for whatever reason. I don't know. I think that's why you deploy reserves, right? There's a national emergency in Kuwait. So he's headed that way. But you know what? It's like I told him, I said, you'll handle it. You'll make it. Don't make it more than it is. You will handle it. You'll get through it. You'll figure a way. And I just always have gone by that philosophy that, you know what? If you don't panic, you don't throw your hands. It's all about, to me, with these kids, I try to teach them. It's all about your attitude. It's about the process and how you go through things. You can make them good. You can make them bad. And I used to use it in my psychology class. I don't want to go to that party. It's boring. There's nothing boring in party. What's boring is you going to it. If it's boring, it's you. It's not the party. It's not party. Party says good. When you go, it becomes boring. Maybe I'm going to look at yourself a little bit, how you're handling it, So I always, I've gone with that philosophy that you should accept and be accountable for your own fate. Don't think you can't be in charge in good times and in bad times, both. And yeah, you can get flattened sometimes, but you don't stay down, you get back up. And if you get a victory, you jump in the air, you're going to come down. So be ready to land and be ready to go, because that's what's going to happen. So anyway, that's why I tell our kids, they seem to handle this real well. I don't see any real bad things other than possibility it's hard to keep your rhythm shooting. But other than that, they're ready to play and they're competitive. What happened the first night against North Texas, I have no idea. We did the same things we've always done. But when we played, we did things I've never seen. And I'll give them their fault for that first one, and I'll give them credit for the second one where they rallied back, regrouped, and got back in gear. So that's all I got, fellas. Y'all have a good.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Dan.
See you, Coach.